We are here where we were saying before the Nick Saban on flag football and 7-on-7. Coach, I'll let you introduce yourself real quick.
Just Toby Bourguet. I'm the founder of Tucson Turf Football
Yeah,
and a lot more things. But yeah, that's it.
yeah. I had to do that. You deserve all the respect, man. You just got done with the trip, winning another national championships. We'll get into that, but just researching you, man. You really talked about how there's a bigger purpose to all this, and I was amazed in the sense someone with so many accomplishments, their main focus is being a Christian, being loyal to God, the God we serve. How did you get into that? And if you can give us a sneak peek of your devotion.
Well, I can tell you, as long as I can remember, God's been in our home from growing up as a Catholic. Um, I'm a Lutheran. I've been Lutheran for now 30 years, and my wife is just such an amazing, amazing person, and she's really been like my rock for all these years and gotten me closer to God and kept me closer to God. And every day, we pray and we lean on God in everything we do, and that's why you know this is kind of my classroom. This is what I use. It's football and coaching to help shine my light, whatever that light is, however dim or bright that light is. The effort is there to make sure that people know that it's not about us and it's all the glory is to Him and everything we do, whether
Yeah,
it's sports or life or everything. But it's been a great journey to kind of put it all together for
yeah.
sure.
I like how you mention your wife in the sense because everything comes full circle. She was a flag football player as well, right?
Yeah, she was an all-state softball player in high school, and when I played flag football in college, she watched it and was like, "Okay, I want to play." And she had several friends that wanted to play, so I coached them, and they, of course, did better than we did as men. They
Yeah,
they did their thing. They lost 2 games in 2 years in college, went to nationals, did the whole thing. It was awesome.
yeah. And then you started, so that's where it kind of starts off for coaching. 'Cause you started coaching her team, right? Emplin?
I started coaching her team in college when I was a junior, and then her and I actually we coached together in Scottsdale, Arizona when we were in college. That was
Yeah,
like our volunteer time.
yeah,
We coached a team out in Scottsdale, and the crazy story nobody realizes is we went unbeaten for 2 seasons, and the one game she couldn't be there because of a bridal shower, one of her friends. So I took the helm as the head coach. I just assisted her,
yeah.
and that's the game we lost.
Oh,
So,
man.
but she never has coached again, and she I try to put her on a sideline, and she for all these years she stays off the sideline.
So that's awesome. So, a lot of people might not know that you originally weren't a football player. You were a wrestler. Talk about that
That's
experience and what it was
correct.
like in the Marana wrestling room because you were a state champion, brother.
Yeah, yeah. That is what I did. My father was a real devout wrestling coach and wrestler. He loves wrestling to the core, and it taught him a lot of lessons. And he made sure that his kids were soaked in wrestling and just the discipline, the self discipline, the self drive that you get. Controlling your own destiny, not relying on other people and the world around you, but you get out what you put in. So wrestling is just a perfect example of life with what you can control. Unbeknownst to most people, I was really small.
Yeah.
I was 103 pounds as a freshman.
Oh, shoot. So you're at the 106 division?
Yeah, I was 103, 112, 130, and 145.
Yeah.
So I wasn't physically anything real prominent on the football field, but I loved football because of the mental aspect.
Yeah.
I've got several football coaches out there that can attest to this. That I was an extension of them while on the field, even though I couldn't do the things that were in my head. I could think things through and recognize defenses and offensive stuff. So I always loved the game of football, and I love what can be taught through football because football is just like life.
Yeah.
Like wrestling is what you can control personally, but football brings in a team and authority figures, your coaches and your teammates, and not everybody has the same skill, has the same responsibilities. But if you keep that the ultimate goal, and work together, great things can happen. And that's so I pick and choose from wrestling and football, and that's just a lot of my philosophies just come from really personal experience. A
Yeah.
lot of it, John Wooden and Vince Lombardi are kind of
Yep.
guys that I really look up to, and Dick Tomey, somebody locally. Lute Olson obviously doesn't curse, so there's a lot of I pick and choose things from different people through my life, like we all have. But yeah, it's kind of been a great journey to do it and reflect back on the wrestling because that brings a lot to the table, obviously, every day, everything I do.
Yeah, you know, you look back when you're in high school, you talk about your freshman year. Did you ever think you would be coaching one of the best programs for 7-on-7 in flag football?
No, no, because 7-on-7 was like, it wasn't even something that I did in high school. I was barely making varsity. So it wasn't. It just no. It was never part of the plan. I wished I had another year of growth in high school to really see if I could have played at the next level. I had a really small offer in like Kansas Wesleyan for football.
Yeah. Oh,
I
sure.
could have.
I got a couple baseball homies over there right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So I was like, no, that's too far away, and I'm probably not good enough to do that anyways. And uh, wrestling was always that was my ticket to college. But once I realized academically that I could get scholarships, and I didn't have to rely on wrestling, it really lifted a heavy burden off me. I didn't realize it because I just always thought I had to wrestle in college. That's just what I had to do to get to college. And once I realized I didn't have to wrestle in college, it allowed me to breathe and just get after it instead of worrying about scholarships and stuff. And then life without wrestling was a big. I still have dreams to this day about wrestling.
Oh, just being on the wrestling mat?
Yeah, being on a wrestling mat and oftentimes weird dreams of wrestling seasons going on. And people are like, why aren't you wrestling? Why aren't you wrestling? It's weird. But yeah, like throughout life, I've had this reoccurring dream that I'm
Yeah.
not participating in wrestling. So I think it's just got to do with, it's just in my bones. It's what I
Yeah.
do. I weigh myself every single morning and every single night. Like I give myself a personal weigh-in. So I track my weight. It's to like the ounce.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a wrestler's way of doing things. And at that level, yeah. But there's a lot of people in Tucson that, I would go from Marana High School, then I would go to Mountain View High School, then I would go to Flowing Wells High School, and then in the summers I would train for nationals. Was at Sunnyside. So I would hit every wrestling room because my dad always instilled in me: if you're not getting beat in your room, go find a room where they're going to beat you. So there's guys that I would just go train with that I knew. Robert Hernandez,
Yeah.
and he's coaching at Flowing Wells again. He and I would, literally every day of practice, one of us would have a bloody nose, or both of us. And we would just get a bloody nose, we'd run to the bathroom, boom, stuff some tissue in our nose, we'd be right back in the circle. And it was literally a battle every day. But it's iron sharpens iron. Like we knew that at the time. We weren't ever enemies. We were just hard nosed competitors. And it really helped us, and it, bonded us for life, really. Danny Vega, Danny
Oh,
Vega,
yeah,
we go
yeah.
back to middle school.
Man, he's having. I mean, both his boys are doing incredible. Sergio's
Amazing.
on his way to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a tight community, and there's so many
really
lessons
is.
you learn from how you said being a football player and wrestling.
Hmm.
You've used all this to create this amazing program. When did the idea first come to start this team? Because I've heard stories about you that you used to play flag football, bring your whole family with you.
Yeah, like I said, I guess it started back at NAU my freshman year of college. I was up there and I was playing basketball actually, and some guys happened to approach me. They happened to be from Sabino High School. They were state champion football players from Sabino back in the early '90s, and they were like, "Hey, do you play flag football?" And I was like, "I play football." And yeah, they needed a quarterback, and the rest is history. I started playing, and I realized like, wow, I'm bigger, faster, stronger than I've ever been in my life. And flag football was like the perfect fit for me. I was so just started playing as a freshman in college, played all through college. That's what I like. Literally, that was my deal.
Was it like college leagues or what was that?
It's just intramural leagues, but I say
Yeah.
just. It wasn't just intramural. So you would play your intramural leagues, and if you won, like for me, it was Arizona State. I was up at Arizona State after NAU. I went to Arizona State my sophomore year. So like my sophomore, junior, senior year, we played at the highest level you could locally, which was at the school, and then we had like a playoff with U of A and ASU and NAU. So we would have an interstate playoff. And then the winner of that would go to regionals. And then the winner of regionals, Nike would send you to New Orleans for the national championship. So by the time we were seniors, we took like 30 of our friends. We had won the regional against U of A. And we all went to, in Boise State, we had a bunch of teams come into Arizona State. And we happened to have two of our teams qualify. And we went to nationals. So that's kind of where it began. And it just never stopped. Like, that was part of my vows, like to my wife, was like, there's a few things we got to get straight right now. One of them is I want to be able to play flag football every week.
Yeah.
Like I don't, I didn't golf, and I don't do a lot of extracurricular things. but I did want to be able to play flag football every week and when we go to tournaments. So we started hitting tournaments in my early 20s. And Trenton, my oldest, actually went to 13 straight years of like there's a big national tournament in Las Vegas. So like every year I would come back to a tournament with more kids.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like guys all over the nation, it's a really big fraternity. A lot of those guys played D1 and professional football. It's what you do to compete in football when you're not playing professional football. Like you have to have an outlet, and not everybody wants to play like these adult tackle leagues just for the safety of their body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so you can play longer, and you can play with. For me, it was great friends. Like my high school best buddies, like we'd get together. There was like seven, eight of us, and we would travel all over America. And then pretty soon, we had our kids were like 5 and 6 years old, and we were like, well, there's a kids playing. So we actually took our kids to the Deion Sanders National Flag Football Tournament in Dallas,
Oh,
and
how big is that tournament for like people like me who are on the baseball side? Explain to how big of a deal that is.
that was the first time we'd gone, and it was a big tournament. Obviously, if Dion put his name on it, it was a big deal. And the kids, we actually took second. We had a co-ed team, so my wife was still playing. So back then, she was still playing, and so Trayson was like literally like 4 years old, but he was playing. We played like 8U and 10U, and we took both divisions. I think I couldn't tell you if Sanders' kids were out there, but I believe. I mean, I'm guessing they were. We played a lot of teams from Texas and down south, and yeah, they took the championship. Dion shook our hands, gave us the trophies, and talked about the kids, and I remember that just like it was yesterday. So
So was that part of the first year back in 2007, or what year was this?
I'm going to guess because Tucson Turf, like actually started out, the company started in 2006. So everything post 2006 is called Tucson Turf.
Yeah.
Before 2006, it was called Steigers. So we all went to Marana High School. So like my buddies and I, so we had a Superman S with tiger stripes. So we were Super Tigers. That's how we attacked the nation. So we run into some OGs that are like, yeah, I remember you guys were Steigers. What's Tucson?
Yeah.
Tucson Turf, and most of the nation they don't realize it's a company. Like they think that we're a football club. Like
No.
we're not. So it all started just with a small business, like a family-owned
Yeah.
business that we slapped the name on our chest, and now from Florida to Michigan
It's
to California,
nationwide now.
Washington, you'll see shirts. Yeah, it's kind of a collectible. You exchange jerseys. Well, there's guys like we have 70 plus people right now playing college ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that have gone through the program.
That's incredible. So that's what I really want to go into. You start this program in 2007. What were the core values you were instilling in that first group so they would be the pioneers to grow it from the ground up?
We always made sure that these kids, and this goes back to when I was being raised, my father and my mom, teaching me about, like I always would wonder why we're doing so much extra work as a kid, just like your father. I think he's kind of like my dad. He basically told me that every team is going to have a best wrestler, like every school. So every wrestling room has a best wrestler in everywhere. So why do you think that's good enough to get to where you want to go? How are you going to separate yourself from all the other best wrestlers, right? So then in the mornings, we would wake up as a family, like at 5 o'clock every morning, and doesn't matter if it's like 30 degrees out or it's 100 degrees out. We wake up as a family. My brother and I, my mom and dad. My dad was a miner, so when he was home in the mornings, we would get up as a family. We'd get the dog on a leash, and we would run 2 miles, and every day, it's 5 days a week. And then when you get home from practice, 4 days a week, you had to spend like 45 minutes to an hour in the garage lifting weights as a family.
Oh, shoot.
Like it's just and as you got older in the middle school and high school, the rule was if you didn't get that work in, then don't ask to do stuff on the weekends. Like you knew that was your personal responsibility to take care of
Yeah,
you.
that was your chore,
That was
basically.
your chore. I mean, we had animals and pool to take care of and grass to cut, but that was the extra, and it was always like you'll know why you're doing this someday. So when you get in the third period and you're not gassed, and that guy is, you'll know why we sprint the last quarter mile. Like you'll understand, and as I got older and more mature, I understood what the extra means. And now as an adult, like I teach my kids and I teach anybody I talk to, like my cousin Grant, who runs the pools for the aquatics in Pima County, he just had a quote, I think, in the paper, and he said, the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is that extra. But people tend to lose that when you say that. So extraordinary effort, extraordinary attitude, like doing the extra in life, and most people don't realize how important it is, but it can be the difference between good and great.
Yeah, like we say in baseball, inches matter.
Absolutely.
Whatever you can do can save you for the next game, next quarter, whatever sport it can be.
Yep.
Tell us about what goes into how people become a part of this community, because I know you always have to make sure it's a great fit.
Yeah, it's one of those obstacles that it just happens. And, we first started our program with just like one of my best friends' kids. So Desmond Roebuck,
Yeah.
state
Stud,
leader,
yeah.
the state leader in receptions. Um, I was there. I was in the room when he was born. Like that's one of my best friend's kids. So, that family and our family, it kind of started with just our kids playing, and then we gradually, kids wanted to play. We needed a player, and it all started right there within the little Northwest Side, Marana. And through the years, we've always had a lot of interest. So we first find coaches that can be great mentors, and then we allow teams to be formed around those coaches. And we fortunately have been just blessed with some really really great men that have grown our program with us, and that's what it takes. It takes great leaders and leaders to allow other leaders to stand out as well. And I think that's what we've done a good job with. And there's a lot of great communication that goes with it, and running any sort of organization. So now our organization has grown to a point where it's constantly moving. So
Yeah.
you have new coaches and new players cycling in, and it's a 12-month season. We try to take a little time off, but with tournaments, there's tournaments. Every week I get droves of tournaments all over the nation that are inviting us here or there. So we have to vet where to go with the kids and give them a great experience. And so it's a lot, but it's totally worth it. It's absolutely worth it because you realize at the end of the day, I'm a kid, and people don't realize this. It may not even be worth noting, but I say this with pride. Like I come from a working class family. Like my mom worked full time, my dad worked full time. So we're like Marana, not Continental Ranch, not the houses you see that represent Marana. Now we're like the core of Marana, like Honey Heights. So anybody that knows Marana, that's where I'm from. So when people think, oh, my life's turned out the way it is because of this, that, or the other, they don't realize. Like I understand South Tucson. I understand flowing wells. Like I understand mud under your fingers. I understand dirt and sweat and all of that goes into creating a strong character human being. I've had a lot of success, thankfully, in life, and that has given me some opportunities that the generation before me may not have had. But I don't. When I go back to my roots and try to teach my kids, it comes from everything together. Not like, oh, we've had a successful business, therefore we're entitled to this, or get used to this. Like, no, you need to be able to think about things and have the discipline to work hard to achieve the things you want. It's not going to be given to you. So if I sit there and give all these kids everything, then I'm really not teaching them for real life, And the kids in the program today, like we had a meeting before we went to Canton, Ohio, with all 40 kids that were going and all their parents, and we brought them into the house, and we had an afternoon of meeting and going over stories and things that help them understand what we truly are as a program. And I actually had parents come up to me while we were in Canton, and it was really nice to hear the feedback because people don't understand. It wasn't like battle just showed up at our door one day and then it created us. Like we'd been grinding for years, and then we got national attention. And now these kids, they're used to head to toe. They get battle cleats and Oakleys and game breaker helmets.
Oh man, they're getting
You
Oakleys
know what I
too.
mean?
Yeah.
So we're partners with all these great people in the space. But if you don't make sure these kids understand what went into that, then they just expect it. And I think that's kind of what is going on with youth sports in general. I can watch a room full of 4 and 5 star kids, walk into a room and get handed Adidas boxes. And I'm talking like literally $500 worth of gear. And there's 20 of them. And I'll sit and watch and observe. They'll open it like it's Christmas. And they get up and they stuff it in their brand new backpack. And then they leave the area. And then you'll have people come in with garbage bags. It's their job to pick up what these kids left. And the problem with that is that there's the mentorship that my generation is offering. They're not they're not making sure that kids grasp what's going on. Instead, it's instant gratification. What's in it for me, and then it's done. Yeah. Whereas, just somebody putting the effort into making sure that they show gratitude for whoever's behind those gifts, right? And then don't ever leave something worse than you arrived. Yeah. So you come into a room like this and it's nice. You get a bunch of stuff and then you leave. Like I don't even let the kids the little straw wrappers on their Capri Suns. Yeah. Like when they get their battle gloves and they pop them and you have a little string attached. All of that has to go with you, so that somebody else doesn't come behind you and pick it up. And if it's not yours, that's okay. Like it's part of what we do. So when you're talking about detail, I get sent pictures. I just got sent a picture this week on Facebook. My buddy James Allen, his son Logan Allen was the quarterback for our 12U team. Been in our program since birth. James and I played together, and he and another one of our kids is playing on a local tackle team. And there's let's say there's 25 kids at the end of practice. There's 2 kids that are still on a champion's knee. That's what we call it in our program. Everything we do has purpose. We take a knee because when you're on a knee, your chin is up, your chest is out, and you're not playing with the grass. You're not picking at grass, playing with the dirt. You're focused because you actually, what we do has a purpose. And you see those 2 kids out of all those kids, and it's working. Now, I can tell you that 10 years ago, I got the same pictures. Same pictures from parents have been coming into me for 10 plus years all over the nation. They go to camps, and these kids are on their butts. And there's several of our kids that are at camps, and they're the ones that are sticking out. Maybe they're not the most athletic. That doesn't mean they're better, but they're doing the little things. They're absorbing the details that we're teaching them, and they're going out into the world, and they're doing it. So if we're teaching them not to curse, to watch their words that flow out of their mouth, because it's important. It's important to us. Yeah. I can't control what you do when you're not with us. When you're not in our huddle, I can't control that. But when you're with us, I'll take kids from all over the nation and tell them the same thing. On Friday night, this is what I tell them. On Sunday, they're hugging and saying, how can we come back and play? And it's four-star kids, 5-star kids, because we don't treat them like that. The message to Bajans of the world and all these great athletes is, yes, you're a great athlete, but the true test is, can you be a better person than you are an athlete?
Can you be a Division I person if you're while being a Division I athlete?
No. Be a world-class person.
Love that.
Division I is Division I. Be a world-class human being. You're going to make mistakes. I make mistakes every single day. Ask my wife. Okay? I make lots of them. But I know that tomorrow I'm going to try to be better. And it sounds like a bunch of malarkey. It sounds like you're trying to make headlines. Some people are. And that's the thing that drives me crazy about coaching, is that you have so many coaches that will get in front of a camera or a podcast and they'll say, well, I'm about the kids and, I just want them to have fun, have a good time. We're going to compete. And then you watch them compete and they we had incidents this weekend. I mean, guys lose it. And I'm guilty of losing it, but if you took 20 years of film, I don't know if you'll find that. But it's, you're throwing stuff, you're cursing out the kids, you're cursing out the refs. I mean, the things you hear. So it just, when we try to do what we do consistently, we feel confident that we're making a difference in lives beyond the game, beyond the football game.
I like what you said there, because that's kind of like the old school coaching. Like back in the day, coaches would go insane. Yeah. Why is it so important to avoid that and make sure the boys know they're safe, that you're not going to blow up? Because sometimes I've had experiences where coaches will make us run for 4 hours straight, and that fears in the back of our head 24/7. Yeah. So why is it so important to avoid all that, to make sure your team's on the front row to winning every single ball game and having success?
Well, I can tell you that, you remember clear eyes, right? when you're not worried about being in trouble, um, this goes back to my childhood. My mom would get off, I believe, probably, my mom's probably watching. I think she got off at 4 o'clock from the clinic. Maybe it was 5 o'clock. Whatever it was, we had to be at practice at the park, and the park was like 5 minutes away. We had to be at practice at like 5:15. We'll just say. So she would have to come home from work. My brother and I would have to be fully dressed in our baseball gear, like head to toe, cleats, the whole bit. In those days, the socks, they weren't, they were, you're young. The socks were long and crusty and they were stretchy up at top. So you'd have to tuck them in and roll them in your baseball pants. I mean,
Yeah.
it was terrible. So you're doing all that by yourself. My dad's at work, so we can eat. And you jump in the Jeep. For my brother and I, it was a Jeep. We would jump in the Jeep, and she would scream us over to practice. Not scream, but she would get us over to practice. And we would literally be jumping out. Like she would barely be stopping. And my brother would remember this. We were like jumping out because it didn't have the roof. It had the little bikini top. So we would jump out. I still remember with my cleats on and trying to not slip and on the cement and the pavement and run to practice. And we were getting there so like just barely on time. And if we were late, we had to run. And then as I started coaching youth here in Tucson, I would be next to a team with coaches, and I was watching kids get to the practice a minute or so late. And I would remember how much stress my mom went through to get us there on time. And I always felt like you're punishing us for what? Like this isn't life. Like this isn't a job. Now, granted, you want people to be timely. I respect that. I understand that. But to punish a child at the beginning of practice, so their whole practice it starts with a negative, which has nothing to do with the child. And usually parents are doing everything they can to get their kids get home from school, get them fed, get them, their homework done, and get them to practice. So you're starting it off with a negative. So that kid's mind is never actually looking forward to the experience. So that mindset goes all the way back to my childhood. Like I'm like, no, we're not going to make this militant. We're not going to make it. I'm not going to put muscles on an 8-year old that's playing with us for 3 months. Like it's just not. That's not the goal.
Yeah.
I tell my coaches the goal is at the end of the season, when the sign up comes out to sign your kid up for next season, is the child going to want to sign up? Now, granted, you're going to teach them football. You're going to teach them some things about integrity and character and everything that goes with coaching. But ultimately, we are there to give them a good experience.
Yeah.
You'll, you know, I don't. Whenever I do these, I don't like to even say the word, but like, winning is the result of consistent effort to be the best you can be. Sometimes that doesn't coincide with trophies. Most times it doesn't coincide with trophies. Every time we go to a tournament, these tournaments have between 10 and 30 and 50. When Trenton was taking those tournaments back when you guys were in high school, there was 140 teams.
Dang.
140 teams. So if you go there as a coach and as a program, and your main focus when you say, what does winning look like? And winning equals that trophy. Well, if that's how you're approaching competing, you're going to feel like a loser a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because 99% of the folks who participate are going to not go home with the trophy. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're coaching and that is what you put the carrot out as, like this is what we're doing. That's not the deal. Like you do the little things that you need to do and the result will speak for itself. And wrestling is a perfect example. I mean, I was seeded first at a majority of tournaments. That didn't mean I took the tournament. There were mistakes along the way, and those mistakes can cost you. But does that mean that I'm not a champion because I didn't win the gold medal? I don't think so. How you're carrying yourself and what you're doing to prepare and understanding, having the mindset of a champion enables you to go to a whole nother level. RBY is a perfect example of it. Ro and I have talks, and we talk about the ups and the downs and everything in between. And that's what champions do. So if I can instill that in kids when they're young, let them not be okay with losing. That's not part of our program. Like we don't sit around and go, "Oh, we're good." Like but we don't throw tantrums.
and we don't make losing as part of competing. And most often, it's the most important part of competing because that's where the most lessons are learned, right?
Yes, sir.
Striking out will teach you more about hitting than hitting a home run.
It's like an old saying, 'cause we just had Manny and too. One of the sayings we used to have at our original gym, like back 15 years ago, if you're not tapping, you're not learning.
Correct. That's correct. So, and most people talk about it, but the actions and their results don't speak on it. You see, they want to look good in front of a camera, but show me your receipts. And we have that's the beauty of our program is we have the receipts consistently for so many years with so many different kids. People can say, "Oh, you had Bijan Robinson." Okay, Bijan is the only team, literally of. I have 6 kids, right?
Yep.
So the only kid that didn't take nationals, NFL flag, which is the biggest one, is Coben. Unfortunately, my second one, and his group was arguably the most talented group of any group we've ever put in the field. But there were some critical errors made in a semifinal national championship game, and we ended up losing. And so, but we've consistently been able to perform and compete and succeed at the highest of levels in flag football and sevens. And then those kids have taken that to Friday nights, and those kids have taken that to Saturdays, and some of them are now playing on Sunday. Um, and it's just, it's our hope that we were just a small part of that, but it's not even the skills and the football stuff is cool, but there's so many other pieces that we love knowing we are a part of, and how those kids speak and how they use their platform in the world now. That's the stuff that we're really trying to integrate into our kids. We want them to be champions everywhere.
Yeah.
And when you can have more champions walking around this world and more fathers that are raising their kids like champions and being a champion husband, um, then you just every day you know that good things are happening. You're trying to leave, like I said, right? You want to leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
Am I talking about a room? Am I talking about a sideline? Talking about the world, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Key program's huge. You have a bunch of different coaches coming in and out. How do you establish that into the coaches as well? Because for me, I hate losing. I hate it. And then the mindset you have, I've learned a lot just from speaking with you right now. So how do you make sure your coaches learn that as well?
Because listen, men are driven by egos. We know that. That's never going to change, unfortunately. Once you can put the ego to the side, and I have to lead by example. It can't be my way every time, all the time, because that's not leadership. You can't force leadership. So I try to make sure that these men and women, we have girls teams, so we would love to have women come on board and coach. My daughter has actually been coaching when she can. Um, so it's just a matter of them fully understanding and accepting how we do things, and we take pride in being different. That's just one of our deals. Like keep it classy. Every time you win and you lose, like that's another thing my dad instilled in me. Like he wanted to be able to be in the top of an arena and watch me wrestle and not know if I won or lost at the end of the match.
They'll give them the gratitude of,
You feel me?
yeah,
So he can watch with no audio, without seeing what the score is, and I shouldn't act any different if I'm winning or losing. And that is huge for our program because I'm at tournaments and we'll have like 3 or 4 teams playing on different fields. So I can't obviously be at every field, but I want to be able to look over and watch our kids shake hands. Now, they're all competitive like yourself. Nobody likes losing except losers.
yeah,
Okay. So accepting a loss and dealing with that like a champion is different than just losing it emotionally. So when I watch these kids, yes, I want it to hurt. It's going to burn. That means that you're competitive. You don't like that feeling and you shouldn't. But does that mean you don't tip your hat to that team, at least for that moment? At least for that moment, you put your hand out and you say good game, and then you go and talk as a team and you go through things and you get better from it. Easier for us to say in the studio than maybe on a field. But most coaches, most leaders, most players, they will truly show you who they are in those moments as opposed to winning the races and throwing the touchdown passes. You'll learn more about who you're surrounding yourself with, who you're putting your kids with in those moments. Everybody's happy and everybody's speaking wonderfully when things are going great. Even Prime himself, right? Great things to say. The post game interviews are full of these great anecdotes and great sayings. But how is it after you take a bad loss? Like, how do you react? How do you lead in those moments? That's going to really tell you what kind of person you are. So that's always been big with us is win like you lose and lose like you win. It means win with class, lose with class.
One of the main things I've learned from being a follower of God is making sure our sport doesn't turn into our identity. How have you been able to do that even with all the success with Tucson Turf?
Well, for me personally, it goes back to wrestling. Wrestling was kind of my everything. Everywhere I went in Tucson, you're the wrestler, you're the wrestler, you're the wrestler. So like, yeah, I guess that's who I am. I'm the wrestler. Um, and then to go into college, that next chapter of life, and not have that be a part of who I am. I was helping coach a little bit, but it was truly my first walk since like 4 years old that I wasn't the wrestler.
Yeah.
And I learned to accept that. And I learned that the next chapter, God had plans for me so beyond wrestling. It takes me to a moment that is it's crazy. That just hit me like that because I lost my senior year. I had the best year of my life in wrestling. I was like 39-2 going in the semifinals of state. Um, I lost a match with a second left. The kid a point with 16 seconds left. Had an arm bar. They thought I was sitting on it. It was caught in my singlet, and gave the kid a point. Tied the score, and he ran out of bounds with no time left, and he kind of spun. I still kind of had his leg. Went out of bounds. We were going into overtime. They gave him a point. That was big. That was a big like in my mind, I was on top, 16 seconds left. I'd already looked at the clock. It was in front of me. I got a reversal, took the lead. I was like, I'm going back to the state finals for the third year in a row. And I let that hit mentally. And then they dinged me, tied the score up. Mentally, I'm scrambling like, oh my gosh. Okay, let's take this into overtime. Let's get this in overtime. It's okay. I won semifinals overtime the year before. This is what we do. And then to give up that point and then to realize like my quest to be a state champion again was over, it hit me. I had to go outside and gather myself because my dad would said, you go somewhere by yourself, gather your emotions, and then come back and you're good. He would, my parents would give me that. When I went outside, my grandmother she was around 80 years old at the time, and I saw her walking towards me, and she fell. And in that moment, this is like literally within 5 minutes of losing. I didn't know if she had passed away in front of me or she tripped. And thankfully to us, she tripped. But for that brief second, God just reminded me what a what a crazy example to use, but like it really, and from that moment on, I was like, I'm good. Like my Nana's right here. I was able to get down there and help her up, and Nana, and just refocus me. And literally from that moment on, it was like I was okay. Like I knew I was still a champion. Like I can't tell people I'm a 2 or 3 time state champion. For whatever reason, God didn't have it in the plans. You know what I mean? So with football, yeah, we're going to have a lot of success. Like we expect that. But at the end of the day, life is what we're trying to be champions at. Like literally, 90% of these kids, 98% of them, 99% of them, they're not going to play football for a living. And if they do, it's so brief. And unfortunately, I've known so many college athletes um, that sadly they wander around life a lot because in their upbringing, so much was I hear this all the time all over the country with coaches and parents. Everyone is so about their kids and sports, and everything is about sports. And yeah, sports are great if used correctly as a tool to teach your child to be a champion in life.
But outside of that, is there any balance? And a lot of my generation folks, like, I'm in my 40s. And I'll
You look
say,
good for in your 40s,
I'm
though,
in my
man.
40s, man. I'm in my 40s. But our generation took sports from being something that we did to something that we are. And people want that big payoff. And that payoff usually is monetarily driven. And if you're wandering around life and you're driven just by money, and that's the big drive, then I think you're lost. It's not, I don't think you're lost. You are lost. And money enables you to do things, and it's wonderful. But if that's what you're chasing, it's like chasing the wind. You're never going to catch it. You're never going to be satisfied. The people that I know in my life that have the most money sometimes are the saddest people that I know, and it's a pretty lonely existence because money's not going to fill those spots in your life or in your heart that you're actually trying to attain because there's not enough money in the world to buy everything in the world. Every yacht has a bigger yacht park next to it. It's just the way of the world, you know?
Yeah.
So you just have to find other things that fill your heart and drive you. And that's where the Christian aspect comes in.
Yeah.
And always knowing, no matter what you're doing, no matter how great you think you are in your world, it's not your world.
Yeah.
Like we're just on this planet and God put us here and we owe everything to him and just always falling back on that every day and thanking him for all your blessings and asking for forgiveness. That's all part of the Christian life. And, I've always taught my kids in our house, people ask me the questions you're asking a lot. Um, I think one of the key things I got from John Wooden, and I teach this to every kid in the program, is that no matter where we are, because we're in a lot of rooms, we're in a lot of fields, a lot of different environments. And so no matter where we are, know that we are no better than anybody in the room, whether they're wearing Nikes or whether they're wearing shoes you've never heard of, or they have cool uniforms, they don't have cool uniforms. And at the same breath, know that you're as good as anybody in the room. It's a really deep thought, but when you grasp that, you understand that whether you're a young man that's just starting this podcast, when you're in a room with the likes of, I don't even know, okay, a Joe Rogan is like the top of the game, right? Like
Yes, sir.
literally for podcasts. So as far as views and viewership and all that, so that's somebody that you should look up to. Well, when you're in a room with him, he's no better than you. He just happens to have more fame, more notoriety, more money. But is that true value, right? Because it's
He's
true. He's just another guy that's been successful. Now you can learn from him.
yeah.
Don't think that there's not levels to these things, but that doesn't mean he's better than you. And when you make it, because you're going to make it, and you are making it, you're going to be in rooms with people that are just starting.
Yeah.
And you to approach it and always remind yourself that this is just part of the journey, right? What can I offer the world? What can the world offer me? It just makes for a really neat existence. And I believe in this stuff I'm telling you. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't stuff that I talk about and then I go in the world and I switch channels. Like, my TV is stuck. Like, they put this channel on. God put me on this channel. And then he, like, back in the day, you had like a TV knob. Well, if you lost that knob, the only thing that was sticking out of the TV is this little metal thing. And you had to have a knob that fit on it perfect to turn it. Or you could get like vice grips and turn it. My TV is stuck on this channel, and I can't get it off, and I don't want to get it off. Like, this is where we're at.
Well, it's God based, man. You're on this channel to provide for the community and continuously give back. What you said about when you're in the room, you're just as good. I always love that mindset. That's something my dad taught me when we were playing baseball. Tucson Chance was one of the best club ball teams in Arizona. We had the opportunity to go against U.S. Prime and stuff. One thing he would always say is, hey, it doesn't matter how good they are. They put their baseball pants on the same way as you do. You're just as good.
That's right.
Going for that, man, I'm extremely grateful because I'm learning so much as a coach, just being with you. All these lessons you've taught, and you've had a lot of athletes in your program. Which athlete best represents everything you've taught to these young kids? I know there's a lot, and I'll say this. What's
you're
one?
gonna give me in trouble right
Yeah,
now.
what's one of the athletes you can look at and be like, this kid represents everything I'm trying to teach?
Wow. There's just, again, there's so many, and I can hit on several.
Give Let me put. Let me.
I give you a couple kids out there that I will say they're extraordinary people. Like we have a saying in our program now. It's kind of like be like Sam.
Yeah.
And there's a kid that came up. He came up on us by accident, which a lot of kids do. He had cool shoes at a tryout, and I liked his cleats. They were orange, and I noticed him, and I was like, write that kid's number down or whatever. It was a local league. It was in rental league.
I never know what could do the job.
Well, I don't put any value. I personally, I believe in tryouts, all that other stuff, but I would go to this tryouts and I would just. We had our core of kids. So Sean's kids were Desmond and Isaiah Roebuck and
Two absolute studs.
and Little Shot, and then they would have my kids. So our core was set. So we really were like, we weren't concerned. We would take anybody and give them the ride of their life with the journey that we'd be on. So yeah, his shoes were awesome, and here we are. I don't know. He was probably 7 years old, and I think he's now 20. So 13 years later, he played on every team that we had, flag and sevens. Blonde, blue-eyed, doesn't look like he literally looks like Opie, like just your kid next door, and he is. And the greatest thing about Sam is that he's very coachable. He listens. Never asked to go in the game. Never asked to be the captain. Would make great plays on the field and just give a thumbs up, like his teammates. Like that's what he's known for. Now, as a grown man, and he's a man, we actually play together. I just got back from Tempe on Tuesday night. I play with my oldest son now, Trenton, as a coach. He's able to play flag football again. Yeah. So he steps right back on the football field. We have Gino Crump out there with us, a former Arizona Wildcat, Arizona Cardinal. Christian Nash, his father's Charles Nash, U of A football player.
Got a little bit of an all-star team going right there.
It's a lot of our alumni. Yeah. Isaiah Roebuck is now graduated from college and back in town. He's going through the police academy locally with Marana. So to be out on the field with these kids that I coached, we get out of our cars, we get on the field, we get together and we pray together and we hug when we leave the park. We left as champions the other day, but to watch these guys give meaningful, like a meaningful hug and say, "I love you, man. We'll see you next week, or we'll see you next time." It's amazing. Don Martinez. I mean, the list goes on and on. Diego Miranda. I mean, these names and they flow through my. Obviously, everybody knows Bajan Robinson. But there's so many of these kids that grasp the concepts of what we represent, and to see them as grown men now. B.J. McDaniel is running his own Walmart here locally. Brian Noriega, seeing him in life doing things and having a family and buying his first house. I mean,
those are the real wins right there.
Those are the real wins. When kids come back in town, they with social media, they text and they call, and a lot more texting than calling. You guys like to text a lot more than call.
I'm the opposite, man. I hate texting to the point because
it's easier to say things. I feel like it's so easy to tell somebody you love them on a text versus vocally, and it's unfortunate. It's just the way it is. But and the girls, we have girls that I watch on TV, Division I softball players all over the nation. That it's just neat. And there's so many great kids that have come through the program that we're just really blessed to have been, like I said, just a small part of their journey.
That's incredible. You've done amazing things with this group, but one of the other things you've done amazing with is your kids, man. Each one of them has done an amazing job as a father and as a coach for them as well. How awesome is it seeing the success of each and every one of them?
I told you. I think I told you. I just came from a funeral, so I'm still in my emotions a little bit.
Yeah, and thank you again for still coming on the show with a funeral right before, man. I really appreciate it.
It just, I was watching watching the celebration of life for my buddy, and it's from the time he got married, and then his kids, and then his grandkids, and you see all these pictures. It's kind of a flashing of someone's life in front of you, right? And when you're watching, I can't help, as a father, knowing that's that man's legacy, is these people in attendance, his family, what he left behind, right? The memories that he made with his family. And it just, it hit me. It hit me. My kids are the they're the very best of what I'll be leaving this world, you know?
Yeah.
And to know that I'm associated with them, it's it's the it's the biggest accomplishment to know that they know Jesus and they know their purpose in life, and they're striving to be successful in everything they do, and they have struggles just like every family and every kid, and but to know that they just they get it, and their mom and I and their grandparents and all of their family, they've just been blessed to be surrounded by so many people who love them, and that's what they do. Like that's what the celebration of life was. It's about love. Like, and I think that at the core of everything we do, my kids have known love and been saturated in so much love and support. That's all they know to do. So like the love that was felt and shared to them, now they're giving back so much of that same sort of love to others around them.
Doing camps at Moran, I remember.
Yeah, listen, it's the older kids that are in college and now Trenton. I mean, when they're not doing something for themselves, they're out actually trying to share that knowledge with the rest of the world to help others. That is so gratifying as a parent, and all the parents listening. You know, I think you understand that. There's a point in life we all get to where you're opening gifts and you find that very joyful opening gifts. And then there's a point in life where that joy trickles to getting the same joy watching others open gifts. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that yet. You probably have your young man. There's going to be a time where in every person's life, and hopefully it doesn't happen for a lot of people. A lot of people are very selfish. Yeah. But it just, the joy I feel in giving, it's so better than like watching my sons and daughter play. The other day I had a choice. I could take the 12th spot on the roster because we had 13 people there. All these are my kids that I've coached, and I could be that 12th guy and someone's got to sit, or I can say, I'm the guy that's going to
just watch or be a fan at that point.
You know, and it was not even a second thought. I took my flags off and I watched these men secure the championship, and I just find it's great. And the sports has been awesome. Like I'm a sports junkie. Watching my kids excel in something that I really enjoy and I'm passionate about, of course that's awesome. Yeah. But it doesn't beat, going golfing with them and watching them. Like I want every shot to go in.
Yeah.
Like I want, their girlfriends, and Coben has a fiance. Watching them in that chapter, it's just amazing. And God, I just hope He keeps me around as long as possible so I can enjoy the next chapters and as long as I can. But it's been a blessing. The kids are amazing, and they're better people than they are athletes.
That's the main goal right there for any parent.
It really is. And people, they whether it's, and I say straight A's, but succeeding in the classroom and making sure you're on the top of your game beyond sports, that's as meaningful as anything. And the fact that, again, they have that relationship with the Lord, and we know where they're going when this life is over. That's what more comfort can you want as a father?
What more can you ask for in life? I want to know this though. How competitive is that household, man? Like, is it as competitive as I think it would be? Because you got 6 alphas in that house for your kids, and you yourself. Do you guys compete at games, or just give us a little insight on that?
Well, yeah, that's a common question. So the most competitive person in the house, and it's not even a close second, is definitely Rylan. Oh, Rylan is
7-time state champion.
7-time state champion. She's competitive to the bone, like everything. She just so detail oriented. It's just the way she is. Like in the backyard, if we set up the volleyball, it's like it's on. Like COVID, it was like the Olympic sports in our yard every day. Like it was we're getting after it.
Yeah, you guys were the first Olympics for flag football and 7
yeah, the backyard. Yeah, we've been doing that. So yeah, she's super competitive, but they all have that in them. Trenton's a quiet, competitive guy, but he wants to dominate every level and especially mentally. And Coben is he is super competitive. He's most competitive with himself. Trayson is like Trayson is like if you know the movie 300,
Yeah.
right, or Gladiator even. These men that have just been blessed with they just ooze like I guess it's called aura is what they're calling it nowadays. And I'll give him that. Trayson just has that. He's had it since he was a kid. He was always a big kid. We're not big when we're young like my kids, but Trayson was for some reason. So he's definitely he's different. And then Rylan, of course, and then Kendron is more like Trenton. He's quiet. He's more reserved. But at the end of the day, he's a very fierce competitor. And then
Straight killer when it comes to being on field.
he can get after it. He really can. And the last one is the one that just got all the juice. Like he just Emmerin. We all like, he watched the what's the movie, the Sandler movie.
Which are there's a bunch.
No,
man.
no, the golfing movie. They just
Oh,
came out.
Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore too.
Okay, so the kid watches Happy Gilmore 2 at his buddy's house 2 days ago when it came out, 12:01.
Yeah.
Okay, with his football buddies. They just won nationals. And then he gets on the golf course yesterday, and you know what he's doing? He's out there doing the Happy Gilmore shots.
Oh, trying to get it down with the swing.
Oh no, he's not trying. He's doing it.
Oh shoot!
I've got him. I just posted it to Facebook right now. He's out. So he did it yesterday, and then he did it today with Coben. They're out. So he's just he's just a character because he's got all of us, right? He's surrounded by us all day, and then this guy's got he just oozes it. That's awesome. And last but not least is the one behind the camera that gets forgotten about in everything that we do like this. The media, they don't know enough about this, like truly the rock star of the family, and that's my wife. And she won't ever say it. She's gonna be really mad at me for saying this on air, but she always knows the score. She always knows the teams we're playing. She always knows their best players. She kind of knows everything.
She's a personal scout for you guys?
She knows where to go. She knows what plays, but she won't tell anybody. She doesn't want anybody to think that. But she's really got her finger on the pulse all the time, man. She's awesome, and she keeps us all in check. Like she doesn't let us get carried away with anything, and but she's super competitive, and we love it. Like we love it.
That's awesome, man. I want to get into this because you just got off a recent trip in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that. You guys had a lot of success winning national championships again. Just tell us a little insight how that tournament went.
Well, I can tell you, once again, I should know this. It's on the back of this shirt. I think it's our 13th straight year or our 12th straight year.
Oh, it's a regular trip then over there.
This has become a staple of our program, and it shouldn't be because it's like going to the FBS. Like you can't just sign up. Like we can't sell popcorn and earn enough money and then just go. Like you have to go to a regional tournament. You have to win a regional tournament, and then you earn a bid to nationals, which is much different than most national tournaments. We can host a national tournament, just put national on it, and then whoever wins it is a national. That's not NFL flag. Like you have to go and earn that bid. So we take really great pride. We saw it on ESPN. My kids and I, Trenton, Coben, Trayson, Rylan, we're watching ESPN in like 2012. It's on TV. I remember my kids grabbing me, Dad, look at this. It's at Disney World. We gotta go. So we went to 6 different regionals as a program. We lost every single time. And I'm talking 1-point losses in the championship game.
Oh, close ones.
So
like
we didn't give up a touchdown the entire tournament in Houston and lost 7-6 in the championship. So I mean we're doing our thing. We're just not punching our ticket. Yeah. So I remember the first ticket we punched was Trayson's team, the 10U team with Isaiah Roebuck, Rylan, Desmond was like 6 or 7 on a 10U.
Desmond playing on that team
on a
too?
10U team.
Oh,
and
man.
Rylan was 8. Rylan was 7. Desmond was 6. Trayson was 9.
I gotta ask this because we covered Desmond throughout high school sports last year. Mm-hmm. How crazy good was he at 6 years old? And did you see when you saw him at 6 years old? Did you see all the success that he was gonna have?
This is what I will say, and all the kids know it. All of my kids know it, and all of Sean's kids know it. And they're all great. They're all fantastic, great athletes. Desmond got dusted with something different. He did, and he still has it. Yes, we knew his hands were like puppies. They're huge, huge mitts. So he was playing when he was 4. He was playing with our 8U team in the YMCA leagues. We would always go play in like 3 or 4 different leagues all the time.
to get our kids as sharp as possible. And we play up. So when you were 8, you play 10, 12 youth, middle school kids. Desmond was playing at 4, and parents were stopping the games. And I know some of you parents probably watching this. They were stopping the games because they said it was not okay for a 4-year-old to be playing with the 8-year-olds because he was out there doing them. He was catching one-handers we
at 4 years old?
We have the film.
We
have the film.
Sabi, my producer back here, we've seen all those plays, especially that South Point play where he did the Odell that they called out of bounds.
Now, it's not even, none of that surprises us. Like nothing he's done, not a single thing he's done has surprised us as his family, because he's been doing that in the backyard since literally since he was a little baby. So we're all like, yeah, that's Dez. Like I've been telling coaches and people all across the nation since he was a little boy. Like, so yeah, nothing surprises us with that kid. Yeah,
he's a great person as well, man.
Yes, he's a very good kid.
Humble kid, and he's a great leader. Let's go back to you punching that ticket for the first time.
Yes. So it was such a astronomical win for the program. I remember going in the first room of national coaches and seeing people all decked out in their like gear. This was in Dallas. We played at the Dallas Star.
Is that when it kind of clicked to you too? Make sure like when you walked in the room, like, hey, no one's better than me. I'm just
we belong here. We belong here, and we didn't do good. Just so you know, like we didn't make this big splash didn't happen. I think we went 1-3. Trayson just said it the other day on a radio show. I think we didn't win a game at a national tournament, it took us maybe 2 or 3 tournaments before we started winning some games. And since, the great thing is we just kept getting better. We took 1 team the first year. We took 3 teams the second year, and that's when we won. I believe the second year where Trenton's team won. And then we just kept bringing more teams. And the great thing is you have to be from Tucson. You can be from Phoenix now if you play together. There's like a zone, basically, right? A mile zone. So it's not like I can pick up players from California. This is all Tucson kids. That's made it even more valuable, right? We're just from Tucson. This is not, for anybody watching, this is not the mecca of football. Like we're not known for football. But what we've done is it hasn't been duplicated anywhere in the United States of America at the level that we've been able to consistently do it at. That's not bragging. I'm just telling you that the facts are the facts. A lot of programs are built around a good team, right? Like you have a 5-star athlete and you coach that team, and as they go through the ages, they're great.
Yeah.
But can they do that behind them, and can you do it consistently? That's what we've been able to accomplish through great, not me as a coach, great coaches throughout our program, and being consistent with how we approach things and how we do things has really created a foundation where, yes, parents come into our program with expectations of greatness, and we do everything we can to accomplish that. But yeah, the NFL Flag Championship, the team that won, now we took 4 teams.
Yeah.
We went 19-4 as a program, which is absolutely incredible at the level that we just played at. Because you remember, everybody's a winner. Everybody that was there.
Everyone's a champion.
Everyone won a tournament. I mean, you're talking like going to a college locker room. Everyone's a winner. Everyone's good. So you go to this tournament and you have to keep your expectations in check. Every game should be a quality game. And 90% of those games were absolute quality games. The team that won it, mind you, the first team they played was out of New York. 3 of their 12U kids, for all those in Tucson who know big 12-year-olds here in Tucson, 3 of their kids were 6'2" and above.
At 12 years old?
12 years old. Now, granted, they could be 13 because of age, right?
Yeah, still.
But they're 12U eligible kids.
Yeah.
6'2" and above, 3 of them. And the other one, there's 5 kids in the field. The other 2 kids that are on the field, they look like young Bijan, Lathan, like very mature young athletes that very fast, jump really high. And we don't appear that way. We would appear like, if you can imagine that team, we're like the opposite of that team, which we take great pride in, by the way. Yeah, we don't look the part. We look like misfits that we just gathered from the local YMCA and like, hey, and listen, guys, I love you. This isn't a put down. This is reality. Like, a lot of our kids it's right around the age where they're going to grow, but they haven't grown. Yeah. So we've got kids that are they're smaller kids. And our biggest kid is not ever the biggest kid on the field.
So we go out there and we do our thing, and we go 8-0. But that can be deceiving because 4 of those games were won on the last play of the game, either offensively or defensively. 4 of them. And if we don't do every single thing that we did, we're done. We're not talking about this right now. So sadly, the only, I don't want to complain, publicly, but the NFL used to do a really good job, and they should hear this. NFL Flag used to do a very good job. You can go back and watch 2020 National Championship where they were 10U.
Yeah.
The kids that took it was Kendron, my 16-year-old son. Imran was on this team, but they took it. But they watch it all the time. It's professionally edited. It's done by Disney and ESPN, and it's wonderful production.
Yeah.
And you can go on YouTube and watch it over and over, millions of views. Unfortunately, right now in this flag football world, the focus was really just on 18U girls and 14U boys.
You think it's just because it's going to be in the Olympics, no other possibility of those athletes going to the Olympics? Or?
It could be. Now, there's lots of reasons. I'm not going to justify it either way, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. But unfortunately, a lot of Tucsonans, a lot of people around the nation didn't get to see it, and they're wondering, but the games that were missed because they didn't have the coverage. The NFL, they emailed me yesterday and explained some things, but it is
Wait,
what
so
it
you're
is.
saying they didn't even cover that game?
They didn't cover the game. It's not. There's no archive of them. They didn't have a. We played on the championship field. There were 2 digital fields, what they call them. And those are live broadcast fields. They didn't have enough coverage, apparently, to have both fields covered. So the 12U National Championship, which is the one game under the 14U, which is the biggest game they present with the 18U girls, right? You have the 18U girls, 16U girls, and then or 18U and then 14U girls. But it's literally like the second biggest boys game of the whole tournament. They didn't have it covered. And it was against the number 1 team in the nation. And again, we were definitely the underdog. They were just a great team out of Miami. If you know anything about football, Miami is the spot.
Yeah,
it's just a spot.
Right there.
Whether it's flag, sevens, tackle, if you can get out of there with some victories in Dade County, you've done some special stuff. So for our kids to go into that game, know exactly who we're playing, and just don't blink. Let's roll. We're going to be there. I always tell the kids, do you want to be Rocky Balboa or you don't want to be Mr. T? Because there's two stars of this show.
Yeah.
So I would much rather be the underdog than the guy that's expected to win. So I love the role. In every game we played with this team, that's what it was. Let's go in there.
In being the underdog.
Let's shock the world. Why not us? That's what I'm a kid from Marana. I was raised with a dirt road, right? Why not me? Why not? Why do I have to wait for somebody else in the world? God put me here with lots of purpose. Let's push the envelope. And that's how I live life. I want to win every day. And I don't blink. I belong here. There's a reason I'm here. And let's go make the most of it. Our kids absolutely embraced the moment every single time that you have that hurdle in front of you. You have to make the play. You have to listen. You have to believe. We're down to the number 1 seed in the actual. The team we beat in the championship is number one team in the nation all year. The team we beat the first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs, was the number 1 team at the tournament.
What were you guys ranked going into the tournament?
We were ranked, I think we were ranked 7th. We were undefeated, but there's a lot of undefeated teams.
Yeah.
And then it goes to points. So we came in at the number 7 seed. So we had to knock out teams that were ranked higher than us, 3 or 4 games in the playoffs. But we were down the entire game. We were down the entire game to that number 1 seed team in the second round. So this is the grade 8, if you will, right? So and there's 40 seconds left. They're third and goal. If they score, we're done. They're up 2 possessions. We can't. It's not possible.
Game's on the line. Defense.
So basically, it's listen, I call timeout. Here it is. We're gonna get this stop. We're gonna get the ball back. We're gonna have about 30 seconds to go down and score, and we're gonna score and win the game right now. You guys believe that, right? And they absolutely nodded. And yes, we do. Here we go. They made the stop. We got to the line of scrimmage. We did a hurry up offense. We got 2 plays off. Boom, boom. We took the ball about 17 yards down the field. It's a 50-yard field. So we're right about midfield. So, quarterback avoids the rush, which is a blitzer that's not blocked. This is like it's like having a corner blitz every play. So quarterbacks have to be agile. They have to be able to move. He moves. The guy goes by him just a little bit. He keeps his eyes downfield. He actually, when you look at the video, because we do have video, he points like this to his receiver that's running a post. When he points the safety that's the middle of the field, he goes with his finger. And our quarterback saw on the left of his eye, Emmerich ran a streak, and that corner had kind of settled in. They were playing deep, but he settled in about the 10-yard line, thinking that no one was going to get behind him, and Emmerich just opened up, and Logan threw a ball that was just like NFL films. I mean, it just slow motion and in stride, catches it, runs into the end zone with like 6 seconds left. Ball game. That sideline just went. They just couldn't be. They had us the entire game, and the coach was trying to play chess. He's just young. He didn't realize that I played chess before, and he was clocking it every play. Everything was. He basically went to not losing instead of winning. He stopped playing to win. For all the coaches out there, when you stop playing to win, when you get a lead, bad things happen. Bad things happen. So that's one. You have to stay on it. You have to stay aggressive. Now, don't be silly about it. Right, don't jack up threes, with 20 seconds on the shot clock. However, keep letting kids play, and he didn't. He shut it down. We took advantage of it. We needed one play that got us through that game. The next, the game before that, Bryson Grissom, our center, who gets overlooked a lot. I think he had like, just for all of you that are keeping stats, I think he had probably like 23 throws to him during the tournament. He caught 23 balls.
Jesus Christ.
23 throws, 23 catches. He doesn't outrun anybody. He's not extremely fast. He's not tall. None of these things. But he does what he does at a really high level. And that's what our team does. Everybody, Kadeem Carey said this when he went to Chicago Bears. He said, find your role, accept your role, and excel in your role. And that's what we tell our kids. Like, you're not all going to be the dude. Not everybody can be the quarterback. Not everybody can be the wide receiver that catches everything. Not everybody can be the starting safety. Find your role, accept your role, and excel in your role.
Just be great at what you got your job.
That's the beauty of football, right? That's the beauty of football. Find that role. It's like life. It's like life. Same as life. Find it. Excel in it. Take pride in it. My dad tells every day his job that he's doing today, he still works, right? He's 71 years old. He still works every day. Tucson turf. Wakes up every day. He loves it. Just love your job. Have it be your favorite job. The job you're at is your favorite job. And if you wake up in the morning like that, it gives you purpose, and you're not sitting there soaked in negativity. So, yeah.
You get excited to get up and go to work and do what you love.
Yeah, dude, he loves being a part of a team, loves being a part of a Tucson Turf. It's the actual company. Yeah. He's out there running a machine every day and part of the crew and the guys. He loves it. So it's that kind of attitude, like Bryson Grissom brings to the table. Like, I'm the center, and I take pride in being the center. I know that I'm not the guy running deep balls, but when my number's called, I catch passes. And he did that with 3 seconds left in the first round. I mean, these games just start stacking, and then we play the giant team that are the New York Jets. Same thing. I mean, they think they're gonna just run us over. They don't even warm up. Some of these teams just look at us and don't even warm up. That's
even with all the national champions.
They're not worried about it because they look like
Matt, what's the average height for one of your players?
Our tallest player is about 5'10". He's big. In Tucson, he's a big kid. He's big. He's healthy. He's actually he's my cousin's son. He's a big kid. Parker's a big kid. In Tucson, he's one of the bigger kids in his age group, probably in the city. And he's very fit and a good athlete. But listen, there's levels to this thing. He learned that in the Jets game. They threw a jump ball in the end zone, and he jumped about. I would say Parker jumped probably close to like 9 feet. The kid that he was trying to get the ball batted from was behind him. And this is to bring it within 1 point. They thought they were tying it, by the way. That's why the coach got thrown out. The other,
you can get thrown out on flag football.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, wait, listen, any competition with kids and you're not acting appropriately, you need to get taken care of.
Yes, sir, to that.
So the kid just was over his hands by about 6 inches. And Parker had the ball in his hands, but the kid just brought it in. And and listen, and Parker's the big kid, and then we have kids that are, Emren and the quarterback Logan and Trendon. They're all about 5'8". They're healthy. Yeah. They're not short. We're not what you would call short, but they're not. No, they're not big. Not at that level. When you're 6 foot tall, you're not the tallest 12-year-old on the field on any of the games.
That's crazy to think about, man.
Everybody's got a 6-footer. You know, these are all-star teams. This is like, I tell people in the space that this is like going to the Little League World Series every single year for like 12, 13 years in a row. That's what these kids have been able to accomplish. This is the World Series of flag football. It's the biggest tournament. It's the hardest tournament to get to, and yet somehow, some way, the Lord has blessed us to keep flowing with success. It's been amazing, man. And unless you're there, a lot of people try to knock flag football, and it's easy to knock. I get that, and try to explain, well, it's not real football, and nobody's saying it's real football. For anybody listening, flag football is not tackle football, and nobody is saying that. Flag football will help you hone skills that can lead to a successful football career with pads on. Much like getting in the batting cage will help you hit home runs in college. Imagine that. But nobody is saying hitting in the batting cage is equal to playing professional baseball. So why do we sit around and try to find the negative in kids out there playing something that they love to play and getting better at the skills that they will one day use under the lights on Friday? And even if they don't play on Fridays, good for them. Go play flag football till you're 50. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But people continue to try to knock it and think that it's like some sort of something funny. Well, Bryson Wright is the most popular football player on the planet right now, and he's 13, 14 years old, and he got it because he caught an Odell Beckham twist catch that was seen all over the world. So he's the most viral kid in the world right now through flag football. So the stage has grown. National eyes, global eyes are on the game, and we happen to be in the driver's seat. So it's been a long process. I've been doing this pretty much weekly since I was at NAU. That story I told you. Yeah. It's been a part of my life weekly since 1994, and it is now 2025.
It's a journey, man.
It's a journey,
it's awesome
man.
Hearing all the success you've had from this, because ultimately you're growing the community. You're helping these kids develop a mindset they can take in the real world, which Absolutely. Is exactly what God put us on in this world to do.
Absolutely. Amen.
Yeah. You know, one last question, because I saw the timer here. I said half an hour. We're actually an hour and 20 in.
No way.
Yeah, so it's been, like I said, it goes quick. So
I listen to podcasts, by the way. Yeah. I listen when I drive to Phoenix a lot. I listen. I always put on podcasts, and I will tell you, I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts, and I'm looking and I start it, and it's like 3 hours long, and I'm like, there's no way. But yeah, when you start talking and sharing ideas, and when you get some things flowing. Right,
it's enjoyable. It's
easy,
hard to stop,
bro.
Man.
It's easy. Nothing wrong with that. So,
oh man, and I'm hoping the crowd and everyone learns from you, man. Because just like I keep saying, as a coach, I feel like I'm getting a PhD in everything you're preaching right now, which is incredible. You know, we as coaches, we have moments, and one moment I had was my first time ever going to extra innings. It was the most proud I was of my guys because we were down, and all of a sudden you see that dog in them. They're like, "No, we got this." Have you ever had a moment like that with your group? And if you tell us about it, like one moment where you're just like, my guys are freaking dogs.
Yeah, fortunately, I can go back. Man, we'll be here another hour. There's so many moments in my journey that I can tap into. And I tell people, it's like my book is a bunch of chapters, right? So like the college chapters, then and everybody's got them. But mine with football and the flag football journey, there's just so many. I mean, you can go back to the greatest show on turf was Trayson's junior year. He had his lineup from left to right. So out wide over here, we had Jacoby Lane, USC receiver, one-handed extraordinaire, right? Yep. Jacoby Lane, okay. That's there. You look to his right, 6'5", is Kyler Casper, University of Oregon wide receiver, right? 4-star wide receiver. Right here at tight end, you had Mike Masunas, Michigan State tight end.
Oh, dude. I got to say, Mike Messina says, what's up, by the way?
Mike Masunas, what's up, baby?
I texted him this morning. I'm like, hey, I'm going to have him on my show. Do you have any tips? And he said, he's a Class A dude. He's awesome. He's one of the best guys out there, so he says what's up.
That's awesome. Well, Michael's been with our program. Young Mike has been with our program since he was about 11.
Yeah, I always call him Little Michael, though.
Little Mike. Yeah, it's weird to call a guy that big, Little Mike. But so, yeah, we have Little Michael here setting the stage at tight end. He's blowing up linebackers and clearing with space. We have Karan Adams, who was like the nation's fastest 13 and 14 and 15-year-old kid when he was that age. He's now at Cal. He was our tailback and coming out of the backfield, catching passes. And then we had Keon Grays, who was a Ohio State wide receiver, and now he's at Cal. He was our slot. And that's just the starters.
Yeah.
Like you have like an all-pro lineup right here. Yeah. And even with that, we go in a tournament, one of the national tournaments in New Orleans, and we're undefeated going into day 2, which is playoffs, right? You do round robin, 3 games, then you go into playoffs. And everybody has a chance, playoffs. So we're playing like the last seed. A team, I forget, maybe they're out of Texas. But this team, they were dogs, and for whatever reason, they lost on day 1. They were bringing it. And they pushed us, and I believe we were tied or losing with the ball with seconds left. And one of the best leaders that I've ever coached is named Cole Martin. Cole Martin's dad was a coach at U of A. Now he's a coach at UCLA. Cole went to Oregon, went to ASU. Now he's at UCLA. He's a nickelback. And he's loud and boisterous, and he's an amazing football player. He's a DB, like I said. Yeah. He gets himself on the field, and we have all these other guys that are going down on the left side to go for a Hail Mary, and he sneaks on this right sideline and just shoots down the sideline, and Trayson throws it in the corner of the end zone, and Cole's like all of like 5'7". He's not tall. He just climbed the ladder, catches it, touchdown. We score, we celebrate, we win, and then we ran through the tournament. Like no one scored more than 12 points on us after that. Like the championship game was like it was like I've got so many of those. Bijan's last year, Coben's last year when Trayson was a freshman. So before that game, the year before, they won in the last second. Trayson threw it to Coben in the end zone for the championship. But on game 1, we won in the last play of the game. And we had Bijan, but we had a kid named Mo Harris, and Trayson basically shovel passed it to Mo from the 40-yard line, and Mo ran through the defense without being touched to win the game, and then we go on to win that national championship in the Atlanta, the Superdome there in Atlanta, where Bijan ended up playing for his career now. Yeah, he won a national championship there in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's lots of moments like that, and obviously lots this last weekend. Rylan won her first national championship on a last-second throw.
Yeah, she's just adding more rings to her hands, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's had some headers in soccer that were like last-second stuff. I mean, it just...
Wait, so she played volleyball, soccer?
She played indoor volleyball, won a state championship. She played soccer in the winter, and she won 3 state championships. She was the Arizona Soccer Player of the Year, actually, her senior year, and kicked the winning goal at Tucson High to win her state championship her senior year, and playing on a broke foot, actually. And
she had a broken foot and she was still playing?
Whole nother story, man. The girl had a broke foot, didn't play in the semifinals, and they had their award ceremony before the end of the season even, and they she's on crutches, and they're like, listen, unfortunately, we're going to have to do this without Rylan, blah, 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 blah. She gets to the game, and she's not playing. The game is tied. She's not playing. She's got like 60 of her family members there. We're like the whole 40, 50-yard line. And then with like 7-8 minutes left in a tied ball game, she's like, let's go. She strapped it up. She went in the game. She started just harassing the ball. Da-da-da-da. She's everywhere. And then they get a sprint out, and she jumps ahead. Girl gives her an assist. She's left-footed, mind you. Her broken foot is her right foot, and she kicks the ball with her right foot from about 15 yards out, which is not her strong foot, and boom, kicks the goal. They run the clock and win another state championship. And there's a lot of epic moments. I wish I had the new Oakley Meta glasses. Shout out to Oakley, one of our great sponsors. I wish my life had the Meta glasses on so that somebody could put this story together, because it's literally beyond. People always say, "Oh, I'm living the dream," but they say it in like a negative, derogatory, they're being sarcastic. I don't say that because I don't want to wake up. I don't like talking about it too much, because I don't want it to be like I'm loving like every life's great. People say, "How you doing?" I'm literally doing great. Like, I am doing great, and I owe it to all these people around me and the life that God has given me because I I I wasn't not here by accident.
Yeah. God had a purpose, and He made sure you ended up where you needed to be, man.
Every day, in the good and bad times. But I tell you, it's been a wonderful story to be a part of, and I love a lot of people in this world. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Coach, man, I appreciate you coming in and sharing your story. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. Just learning, hearing the stories of what started and from the beginning to now, winning national championships, but also growing the community has been incredible. We have to have you back next year when you win another one, brother.
Well,
Or
that's
sooner.
the plan, man. That's the plan. So I really appreciate it. And best of luck to you, man. This is really cool. Bobby and I, shout out to Jet, what he's been doing in this community is, just amazing. A lot of guys out there. Q, I mean, just lots of good role models that are Tucson guys. And we need that. We need great role models and men and women. But we need great male role models in this community. And what I would like to just take a second and say is, I would love to see just the Tucson community really try to support each other more than it has in my lifetime. I say that, as somebody who has to live that as well. But when you see success in our community, I would like to see us rally around the success as opposed to being against that success. And for some reason, it's been really troubling to me. The further I get away from home, the more love I'm shown.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's sad. It's crazy. It's real. People, and I tell people when we go on these trips, walk around me a little bit, and they'll tell you stories. You ask people.
Wait, so
It's
you're saying
amazing.
like kind of people going after you from all the times you've won and stuff like that?
What I'm saying
Yeah.
is this: if your child lives in Tucson, listen, I've got 6 kids, right? I've had 6 kids across 12 years. There's only so many kids that can be on the boat. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
I can't have unlimited rosters for this journey that we're on. So the kids that aren't on the boat, it's not because it's personal or we don't like you or we think you're not good enough. It is what it is, and I just wish that when I'm watching Thornydale Little League and they're trying to get to the World Series right now in softball, I'm cheering for them. When Sunnyside took the World Series in softball in 2012, when Yanni was on that team, we were cheering for them because I want my kids to understand you don't cheer against somebody because they're successful. Even though we don't really like Duke basketball, in my inner heart, I don't cheer against them because they're good, consistently good. They're doing something right. So I don't cheer against people just because they're successful. And I just ask that, and not just my team. I mean, the Rams football team I think is really good. The Dolphins little football team, basketball teams, Tucson High, all these. I think if we just learn to try and rally and support each other as a community, I think there's greatness here. I know there's greatness here.
Yeah.
Sunnyside Wrestling has proven it. There's greatness here, but I just would like us to tip our hat and say, man, good job. Maybe there's something I can learn from that and help with what I'm trying to do. So that's all. I don't get on this stage very often, but I just hope everybody has a great fall, and I hope they have a safe fall and a healthy fall with football and all the other sports. And let's have another great year of sports in Tucson, Arizona, and celebrate life and
Celebrate Tucson doing great.
absolutely to Tucson doing great, and may God keep His hand over us always.
Amen to that. Coach, thank you so much for coming on. It was a great experience. Guys, thank you. Hey, man, you guys got to check this one out. Check all the reels on Instagram. Stay tuned. Coach, one thing I did forget. Where can they find you? Your Instagram, Tucson Turf's Instagram. That way they can stay involved and see what's going on with Tucson Turf.
Yeah, if you're ever looking for stuff on Tucson Turf, we have a website. It's TucsonTurfElite.org. We have our 501c3, so we're always looking for support in the community. If you're looking somewhere to support, and Tucson Turf, Instagram and Twitter, it's all out there. So we're very easy to find. So yeah, look us up. Support is there, and we'll try to support back. And yeah, man, thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
See you guys in the next one. Peace.